Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Cyber Planet. My name is Karim Chata, and I am your host. On today's episode, we'll be having a chat with a cybersecurity expert from Tanzania who is currently working at a financial institution. Her name is Calister Simba. Ms. Calister, karibu sana.
Thank you so much, Karim. Hello, everyone. My name is Calister, just like Karim was introduced. I am working as an cybersecurity engineer at a Central Bank of Tanzania. It's really glad to be here. So Karim, thank you for inviting me on your podcast.
It's always a pleasure. So, Calister, as we all know that in cybersecurity, the industry is huge. But before we dive into that, we'd like to understand, how did you get started into cybersecurity?
I would like to say, I have a very long history, a very long story, or I would say history around cybersecurity. But in a short way, it's more of a luck, or I would say more like a mistake that was done on the part of when I was trying to select some courses for my undergraduate degree. So there was a mistake in my name. So apparently when I wanted to go back and change the name, and I wanted to select the course that I wanted, at that time I wanted to become a pilot. I think that's usually everyone's, or every Tanzanian dream. So so the course I wanted to select was already full. So I had to go to another course. So when I arrived to that course, somebody also proposed, I would say I met somebody who proposed to go for cybersecurity with the intention like you be a hacker and stuff like that. So I found it was cool and interesting. And I was like, okay, I'll take it. I would say 6 years in, or I would say 7 years in, and I will still select it. Or I will still take it. So basically, that's some of my story around cybersecurity.
We understand that you are working at, as you mentioned, at the Central Bank of Tanzania, and you're working as an information system security engineer. So in your role as a information system security engineer, can you please give us an overview of what exactly is this role and what do you do?
So basically, my role involves designing and implementing security systems, including designing security requirements across different systems. It also relies on the defending against attacks and threats around cybersecurity. So my role transfer, I would say, because cybersecurity is large in general. If you ask anyone in cybersecurity, they will tell you. So I moved across, I would say, 4 to 5 areas, from threat intelligence, GRC, I would say vulnerability management, log management, and also project management as well, because I've been involved in a different project for the bank as well as the government institution in general. So it's revolves around those areas. So anything around that area, including maybe protecting against vulnerability, protecting against attacks, they'll call me. Incident management, they'll call me. When it comes to projects, I also play a role as DevSecOps engineer. That means like I'm always from the start of the project to the final, I'm always involved in ensuring the security is well implemented in those systems, and designing of requirements as they're required in the system. So that's how my role entails, basically, at the bank. But in general, it's like I said before, information security engineer or cybersecurity engineer. It's basically the role around ensuring the system that you are designing are secure, and also implementing those security. So you are enforcing controls, you are enforcing those security requirements within those systems. So that's the whole role around cybersecurity engineer.
So it's basically more of the defensive perspective of cybersecurity, if I've gotten you right.
Yes. I would say you are right on that, Karim. It's basically around that, more of the defense than attack.
So my next question to you will be, you've listed a lot of activities that you've been doing throughout, your career as an information system security engineer, and the activities that you've mentioned, there are also other different roles by themselves. So you mentioned GRC, threat intelligence, vulnerability management, DevSecOps engineer, etc. So if we combine all this into information system security engineer, and probably there's an individual out there who is seeking to be like Calister in the next few years, can you please help us understand how did you get into this role as an information system security engineer, and what qualifications did you need in order to achieve this role?
So basically, if there's anyone who is inspiring or who's aspired to get into the role, one advice I would say before I get into how did I get into the role, it's I would say the first thing is usually the passion or the interest. Like most people who are getting into cybersecurity, some of them they're just getting maybe for the money purpose, of course, because it's part of the tech. And we know how tech somehow they say this brings a lot of money, which is it's true somehow. So apart from the money, you need a passion or you need an interest, a very big interest, because cybersecurity is a very dynamic industry. Like it has a lot of things. You to reach a time where you'll be overwhelmed and exhausted. If you don't have that kind of passion or motivation within you to keep going, you basically leave it, even if what you're seeking is money. But again, other people intention is money, so maybe their motivation will be more of a money side. The second thing, either we like it or not, you need to have technical skills somewhere on the line. There are some areas or some activities that you can do that are not technical, but I would advise somebody who wants to get into this role, who aspire to be also in cybersecurity in general. Technical skills are very relevant, I would say. It depends now which role, but in cybersecurity engineer, technical skills such as the vulnerability assessments, vulnerability analysis, you need to understand that in the technicalities of that. Threats intelligence, you need to go through to understand the tools around it, how to do it, even if these days most of the things are automated. You also need to be like to get understanding on the manual part, which most people also try to run away, but you have to get understand of that. When it comes now to a role that I'm doing, maybe sometimes with projects, with projects, we're dealing with software development or software developers. So somewhere on the line, we can run away from programming, but you can run away if you want to involve yourself in programming, because you have to, when you're trying to protect systems, when you're trying to when you're trying to involve in the DevSecOps or even in Agile in general, programming is a part of things that you have to understand. Algorithm, you have to know, like, what if this software is being developed, what is the function, where can I put the controls in the coding. So basically programming is a part of thing that you have to understand. So the technicalities depend on the areas that you'll be mostly doing. And again, usually a person who says in the technical parts, you can learn. Whenever you get introduced to a certain area, you can sit down, dedicate some amount of time and learn. But the most important thing is the soft skills now. One of the things that also us as tech people, we are lacking in general is soft skills. So the soft skills, like to know how to translate our own language to the language that other people can understand, even software developers can understand. It's also a very critical skill that you need to understand. So it's that's why there are times like in the companies or in their own organization, you find that most people are getting like software developer don't like security people, because there's a bit of miscommunication between them because they don't understand each other. So so for the part that how I get into the role is basically through, I would say, the first thing I did from cybersecurity was more into projects. So I was involved more into security project manager of security tools. So I got involved there. I understand. So from there, I got interested. So I understand different tools around security at one of the company. And then from there, I was more interested now to dive dive in. So I tried to look for different roles that I can dive in. And it was, I would say, lucky star was on my side. And I got into, there was a role that was advertised. But basically for me, I got an invitation to do an interview. Yeah, I got an invitation because of the things that I was doing. It was more of a recommendation on my side. So when they called me, like, okay, I'm ready. And since it was that time where I was thinking of changing some roles, and so it was a perfect time for me, and it's got aligned to the star on me. So that's got into the role.
That's interesting. So basically, if I got you right, another key ingredient that is also needed at times, not all the times, is luck.
Yeah, we are trying to run away from that. Like most people say, work hard. They will say this and this, but we can't run away sometimes with that. Luck also it's a part of thing that can get you to places. So you just have to align your hard work with luck, which luck also, I would say it's a combination of, your hard work and your network, because like I said, I was I was recommended. So that means I had a very good network, or I worked towards my network, and I worked toward presenting who am I to the people. So that's why.
So those are also additional factors that you've mentioned. So your network is very important, and how you present yourself in front of people, and also your hard work. So going to the next question, because up to this point, I'm already overwhelmed with different activities that you are doing. So,
yeah, I'm telling you, that's why I say, like, sometimes cybersecurity is overwhelming. Just imagine this time now.
Yeah, I agree with you. So with all this that's going on in your line of profession, what are the most key responsibilities that are involved in your role? Because, as I said initially, this is a lot of things that you're doing, and even by itself, there are already multiple careers under it. So, for example, GRC, that's another.
It's another area.
Yeah, so things like that. So what are your key responsibilities as an information system security engineer, so people can be able to narrow down, this is what Calister does on a day-to-day activities. Probably in the long run, I am going to be, in her shoes, taking over her, the same responsibilities that you're doing in a different company, hopefully not where you're working right now. So what are your responsibilities?
Yeah, okay. I would say the first thing, let me first say that not all organizations, not everyone that who is a cybersecurity engineer does the things that I do. It depends also on the organization that you're in. Some organization goes very specific that, okay, we are employing you as a cybersecurity engineer just to do vulnerability management, or just to do project management, or just to do GRC, But again, those places also have their own titles. It also depends, like, on the number of the people that are on the team. So basically, I would say a lot of roles, or I'm taking a lot of roles because the team is not that big for us. So that's why I'm taking. But I would like to divide my time, like you just say, what I do maybe in a day, like in these ways. Usually in the morning, I get involved mostly in the projects, especially for the bank and others. So in the morning, I tend to design different controls for different projects. So I get to understand what the project is all about. The system is being developed, and I sit down to perform threat modeling. By threat modeling is to see where are the areas that an attacker or any person or an adversary can get into the system. So I define those areas, I define the impacts. After that, I start to design security controls that a system should have. So usually in the morning, my tasks revolve around that. And since sometimes I can have 2 to 4 projects, that means it's a bit of work. So I can say maybe today I'm focusing maybe on only 2 projects. So I'm looking at that. So that can be my daytime. And from after that, now I get into now to protect the bank's network. Because remember, those are just systems that are being currently being developed. So right now I'm focusing on my routine, or I would say day-to-day activity, which involve vulnerability management or vulnerability assessment. I use different tools, automated tools, and sometimes some of the tools are like they are being integrated with AI technology. So I try to look at where are the vulnerabilities, or what are the vulnerabilities that are currently going around the world, and how and if the bank's network is being protected by it. Like most like researching as well as using tools to scan if we have any gaps in the network. And also from there, I do reporting because, of course, I'm not the only one that does every protecting. So I will have to put on a reporting or documentation that can assist others, such as network engineers, application administrators, to see how we can protect from that. So that's vulnerability management. After that, I go to a log management, look at the logs, analyzing, review them. If there's any issue, maybe there are like some alerts, I get to them to see how, like, these alerts, are we supposed to focus on that? After that, sometimes I get involved, like I say, with GRC. GRC is more of a risk. As a cybersecurity personnel, we do have a security risk profile that we are keeping. So I try also to review it to see the risks that are there and how we can mitigate those risks. Mostly, sometimes it's a switch, like I would say, between my day activity and my morning, like I switch. I can do like the next day, I can do those activities that I've done after the project in the morning, and then in the day I go with the project, and vice versa. So it's interesting because I'll say every single day I find something new because I do research. I understand vulnerabilities every single day. There are new vulnerabilities, and I need to understand them. So yeah, it's a very interesting. My day usually gets interesting. Like you would sit down and it's like, oh, that's interesting. Like every single day you go back home with something new in your in your mind, which is why I love cybersecurity.
I'd also like to understand what are some of the challenges that you face in this role. So that's one. And then on the other side is, how do you overcome these challenges?
Basically, my issue with cybersecurity is the dynamics of it. Like that's usually my biggest issue, because you would say, okay, let me sleep. The next morning, there are like 100 something new you have to get on, So it's like I said, there are times you'll be very overwhelmed. So those are the challenges for me. Or those are the issue. Like you go into vulnerabilities, you find there are like 100 vulnerabilities, and there are other tasks that you're supposed to do. So how can you manage all of that? And you are just one person. So is one thing that have been challenging for me. The second thing, it's more of presenting those security, also the communication issues, maybe between one team to another, especially from security perspective, because most teams already have, especially when it comes to developers or even other teams, already have thoughts that cybersecurity are like a blockage, how we are. That's the challenging part, like dealing with that kind of communication issues or so but again, like I said, for me, challenges, I find them interesting because if I get into a challenge such as that, I'll be like, okay, Calister, what should I do? I put down my technical skills. I put up my soft skills and see how I can manage all of this. So that is with the dynamics of cybersecurity is keeping myself up to date every single day, researching, like finding networks, getting close to people that I know they are very active when it comes to cybersecurity. Yeah. So those are the things that I usually do to face those challenges.
You've mentioned all these challenges. Now, there's one thing which also I myself am a victim of, which is burnout. So for you, how do you overcome burnout? Perhaps I could get pointers for myself anyway.
Okay. That is usually, I'm still honestly, I'm an honest person when it comes to that. If you even go to my LinkedIn, there's sometime I posted one post that I've asked the security community, how do they handle it? Because I'm still trying to find different ways. But currently it's more like whenever I find like I'm overwhelmed, I stopped for some time. And because I also have other hobbies, I got involved into other hobbies that are very far apart from cybersecurity. So I try to get into those, even for like 1 hour or 2 hours, to keep myself doing something different from that. So I do maybe painting. I like painting, so I do painting. I also do poetry. So whenever I find myself in that kind of overworking time, I'm overwhelmed, I go into my other artistic things that I like to do. And also sometimes I rest. Like I was like, sometimes I'll be like, you know what? Let me just take a nap. Let me take a nap. And then I'll get back. So I have this thing. Sometimes I would like, cybersecurity is not my whole world. I started putting that motto recently, like cybersecurity is not my whole world. So let me just take a nap and then I'll get back. So yeah, those are the ways sometimes I try to handle that kind of overwhelming and everything. You know, I should advise people, it's better to have also something that is different from cybersecurity or even tech in general. You know, we tech people, apart from cybersecurity, we tend to get very overwhelmed because tech in general is also dynamic. So it's something that is different, entirely different, especially if you do something with your hands. You will understand like will be also a part of you that's rest.
Previously, you mentioned like tend to try to stay up to date with what's going on in the industry so that you can continue being relevant and be able to protect the system that you're building or you're creating the architecture for. How do you stay up to date with the industry's trend?
Most of the time, how do I stay up to date is basically through network. I get involved with my network involve active people. I try my best to get to connect with people that are very active when it comes to cybersecurity trends. LinkedIn is like my buddy, I would say. It's like every single day after I finish maybe my work, sometimes I'll be maybe doing other activities like in my phone, but I will always pass through LinkedIn even for 30 minutes to know what's trending, what's going on. I've also subscribed different magazines. I love podcast, Darknet Diary. It's also my favorite. There are a lot of podcasts I've subscribed in both of my phones to listen to it, and it's crazy that I usually say like for me I listen to podcasts until I sleep. Like it's sometimes it's like you know, other people watch movies and stuff. For me, podcasts. Yeah, I do podcasts because I like to listen to it. It's kind of gives me like most people will be like, why are you listening to that? But I'll be like, it makes me calm and stuff. So those are also some of the places that I get up to date. I join different groups, WhatsApp groups, Telegram groups where I get different updates. So in general, it's all about connection. Like if you looked at all of them, like the terminology I can use is a connection or network. Like I try to network a lot, getting connected with people, to connect, and also I have an initiative. I think you're also well aware, Karim. It's called CyberDada. So I have some few girls there who are studying, who have passion or interest in cybersecurity. So they also keep me on my feet because I need to get knowledge or to get skills so that I can assist or I can mentor them. Because I cannot mentor something that I'm not aware of, or if I do not have an update information. So those like that initiative also is one of the place where I get, I stayed on my feet to ensure that I get up to date. So there are a lot of places around that I got with trends and stuff.
I must say, I agree with you with majority of the things that you've mentioned, from the social medias to websites, etc., which is very true. I think that's what majority of people go for. Next question for you, it will be, can you please share with us some insights or lessons that you've managed to learn from your current role?
One thing I would say is to network a lot, especially if you're in a
Okay.
cybersecurity industry. And
Okay.
by network, it means like if you want to get into good roles, if you want to get information, if you even want to get skills, connections on network is very important.
Okay.
Yes. So that's one. Second, it's on the part of the soft skills. I think one of the misconception that most people have is that as a
Okay.
tech person or as a cybersecurity personnel, you are not supposed to have soft skills, or your soft skills should not be like, you are not, basically you're not supposed to have soft skills. Most of the people, and I've also find that most of us in cybersecurity lack that kind of thing. We are always behind the laptop. But when we get into organizations or into companies, there's a lot involved apart from being behind the laptop. Like I said, my job involved documenting, involved reporting. So all of those are not technical. You can do the technical reporting, but when you are trying to ask for money from the management, you need to learn the soft part, how to translate that. So you need also to have maybe business analysis skills, which is more of a soft part. When you're trying in a project, you're not doing it alone. You're doing it with other people. So maybe if you are alone, I would say yes, you should not focus on soft skills. But again, if you want to do maybe sort like you are doing penetration testing and you want to put a report and you want others to read, it means you also have to have reporting skills. So I think that is one of the insights that I usually share to people, that get in touch as a cybersecurity experts or professionals. You also have to get in touch with the soft skills. I said, and I'll say it again, technical skills can be learned. That's the truth, Karim, whether we like it or not. But soft skills,
that's true.
you don't, because if you don't improve on soft skills, it's very hard even to communicate well with other people in the companies or in an organization. Another insight is researching, on cybersecurity. Like, I think that part, it's an area that we are not. There are not a lot of people there. So if there are people that also want to join in a different roles in cybersecurity, I would say they should go in cybersecurity researchers. Like especially recently, that there have been a lot of technology trends, AI, there have been blockchain, all of those. If we get to have a lot of researches around those technology and how they're integrated or how they are related to cybersecurity, or how cybersecurity can be integrated into those technology, I think there will be a lot of solutions and a lot of information around it. But recently, I've been trying to find those information, but I'm getting a very little amount of information on that. So I think researching and stuff should also be. Another thing is, one insight I would also like to say is for women, for us women. I want them to not be afraid to join the cybersecurity. I keep telling them, I know some women do not like to code. I met a lot of them, honestly. So I try my best to ensure, tell them there are other roles that do not involve coding or programming that they can get into. So I would like to see a lot of women. Like, if you look at different statistics that have been done globally, there's still small number of women in cybersecurity and in tech in general. So I think I will use this podcast to call out all women that they should try cybersecurity. it's an interesting field, and actually it fits women more than men.
Okay, I can't
Yeah,
argue with that.
okay. I'm not being a feminist there, but I just think we women can bring different perspectives. So I think this industry need diversity so that we can reach far. So I think I'm calling like I want more women. I want them, especially Tanzanian women. We should not be afraid. All the girls like who are pursuing tech, they should come into cybersecurity. Of course, I know they want to go into other tech roles, but
Careers.
cybersecurity is the best. So I want them to come to cybersecurity. So those are the few steps I would say I want to talk about, or those are the insights that I want. Yeah.
And so this is what I'm going to have to say, because so number one, I think it's going to be a challenge for you to try your level best to encourage more ladies to come in, in the industry. That's one, because we've already seen multiple ladies who have made it in the recent few years. So, for example, we have our mutual friend Rina. Back in the days, she started out very well, and right now she's in one of the largest telecom here in Tanzania. And then there's another young lady who is coming up. Her name is Zakia. So I think we are heading into the right direction, but we need to put in more effort to try and encourage the young ladies who are in technology to shift also into cybersecurity.
I think I concur with you on that. I would say I want it to reach a point where maybe next time, if it will be, or maybe in the years to come, if you welcome me again into your podcast, we are not going to mention names. We'll say we have numbers, like right now we are mentioning names because it's clear that there are small number of young ladies or even women in cybersecurity. But I want next time, or a few years, not to mention. We say like we have 20 million in cybersecurity, maybe that are working in telecommunication. You just say numbers.
I think that has to be our next challenge for the both of us anyway. It shouldn't be a burden only on you, but all, let me say, cybersecurity experts who are from Tanzania. This should be, our next project for all of us to, increase the number of cybersecurity experts who are ladies. So definitely we are going to work on that. So Calister, I don't want to waste your time. I know you're very busy. You have a lot of things going on right now. So can you please give me your final thoughts?
I would say my final thoughts, it's more of, I would say, let's connect, let's network, let's share different ideas around cybersecurity. These days, I invite people to connect or to even, I would say, collaborate with me on different researches, because also it's a part of it's an area that I want also to explore. If you have an ideas on a research you want to do around cybersecurity, we can collaborate. I don't really mind. I can provide maybe my ideas or even a review around the research. For ladies, if you need any assistance on how to navigate some areas in cybersecurity, not only in information security engineer or in what I'm doing, but also in other areas. I even if I won't be able to provide any feedback to you, but I have a connection with people that can assist. So don't be afraid to come and ask, or to come and query any information about cybersecurity from me. So let's do that. Also, the people who want to connect with me, they can get me in my LinkedIn. I use the same name, Calister Simba. I think it's also in Twitter. And also for young ladies who wants to pursue, who have interest and who wants to be mentored, I have CyberDada group. So if they also want to get into the group, because we also post different opportunities on cybersecurity, so they can also get into that. So but I think those are my final words, I would say. Other things will come when we are connecting, because once we get connected or once we network, it's going to be easy. We just discuss about stuff, just like how we discussed between me and you.
Well, let me just give our, listeners recap of what we just talked about. So, number one, if you're an individual trying to get into information system security engineer, first thing is you need to focus on your technical skills. So that will include things like vulnerability management, research, etc. So you need to focus on the technical skills. Number two, Calister emphasized on soft skills, which is very important. So guys, we need to work on our soft skills, which includes communication and how you present yourself in front of people. And then we can't shy away from networking with people. That's very important because people are the ones who are going to open doors for you in your career line. She mentioned also something which is very interesting, that every day in cybersecurity is never the same. You're going to deal with different things. For you, in order to stay up to date with what's going on in cybersecurity, you need to go through different social medias that will include LinkedIn, Twitter. I think those are the most dominant social media platforms. For Calister herself, she listens to podcasts. One of them that crossed my mind is Darknet Diaries. So that's something you guys will go through. Follow more cybersecurity experts to see what they're doing. So you guys need to follow Calister. And then get involved in cybersecurity communities. Very important because you're going to meet with different people from different backgrounds and you're going to learn from their experiences. Keep on learning. That's very important and growing because cybersecurity is not stagnant. Technology keeps on evolving. So it's very important for you to keep on learning and staying up to date with technology. Final bit is connect and collaborate. So, guys, thank you very much for being part of this episode. I'm sure you've learned a lot from Callista and her roles. And hopefully, up to this point, you've gotten a better understanding of what information system security engineer as a career involves. And hopefully, in the next few years, we're going to have more experts in this domain of cybersecurity. So thank you very much and see you on the next episode. Cheers, guys.